Hello friends, today I am going to record second video of TYK series on registration chapter. So let's start with first question that determine the effective date of registration. So here two cases are given. In the first case, the aggregate turnover of Dhampur footwear industries of Delhi has exceeded the applicable threshold limit of 40 lakh rupees on 1st September. It submitted the application for registration on 20 September. Registration certificate is granted on 25 September. So first we should know in what cases the threshold limits for taking the registration is 40 lakh rupees is applicable. So as per section 22, if we make only intra-state supply of goods, please underline intra-state supply kiski goods ki, then threshold limit is 40 lakh rupees is applicable. So here it exceed the 40 lakh rupees. So the date on which Dhampur is liable for taking the registration is 1st September. Okay. So we also know as per section 25, if we are liable we are liable for taking the registration, then we should apply within 30 days. If we apply then within 30 days, then effective date of registration is the date on which we become liable for taking the registration. But if we don't apply within 30 days, then effective date of registration is the date on which registration certificate is granted. So in the given case, Dhampur is apply for registration on 20th September, means within 30 days. So effective date of registration is 1st September. Okay, then next. Mehta Teleservice is an architect in Lucknow. It aggregate turnover exceed 20 lakh rupees on 25th October. It submitted the application for registration on 20th 7th November. Registration certificate is granted to it on 5th December. So in the given question, threshold limits for taking the registration is 20 lakh rupees applicable, because Mehta Teleservice not provide goods, because it provides services. Okay. Next. It should apply within 30 days, means 25th October is the date on which liable for registration. So it should apply within 30 days, means 24 November. Okay, but it apply 27th November. So effective date of registration, the date on which registration certificate is granted. So in the given cases, in the given question, in the given case, effective date of registration is 5th December. Next question. In order to eligible for grant of registration, a person must have permanent account number issued under the Income Tax Act 1961. Instead of one exception to it, we know that if we apply for registration, then PAN is mandatory. But in case of a non-resident persons, PAN is not mandatory. He can apply if he have valid passports, and along with applications which is duly signed by a person resident in India which have PAN. Okay, so चलो आंसर देखते हैं इसका. A permanent account number is mandatory to be eligible for grant of registration. One exception of this non-resident taxable person. Okay, a non-resident taxable persons may be granted registration on the basis of other prescribed document instead of PAN. वो कौन सा डॉक्यूमेंट है? He has a submit self attested copies of his valid passport, यानी उसके पास वैलिड जो पासपोर्ट है वो along with a application, एक application होनी चाहिए signed by his authorized signatory who is Indian resident having valid PAN. एक इंडियन रेजिडेंट उसके द्वारा साइन होनी चाहिए, एक एप्लीकेशन जिसके पास वैलिड PAN हो, यानी उस इंडियन रेजिडेंट के पास PAN होना जरूरी है. नॉन रेजिडेंट के पास अगर पासपोर्ट है और प्लस एक एप्लीकेशन फाइल कर देता है और उस एप्लीकेशन है उस पर उसका जो अथॉराइज सिग्नेचर है और उस एप्लीकेशन पर जो पर्सन साइन करता है उसके पास वैलिड पेन है. ओके, एंड एप्लीकेशन विल बी सबमिटेड इन डिफरेंट प्रेस्क्राइब्ड फॉर्म्स. क्वेश्चन नंबर 3. स्टेट विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग सप्लायर आर लायबल टू बी रजिस्टर्ड. First case, a agent supplied taxable goods on behalf of some other taxable person and its aggregate turnover does not exceed the applicable threshold limit during the financial year. So we know as per section 24, an agent who is supplying taxable goods on behalf of other taxable person, then he is mandatorily required to take registration even though his aggregate turnover does not exceed the applicable threshold limit which is prescribed under section 22. Okay. Next, a agriculturalist who is only engaged in supplying of produce out of cultivation of land and its aggregate turnover exceed the applicable threshold limit during the financial year. So we know as per section 23, a agriculturalist who is only engages in produce out of cultivation of land, then he is exempt from the he is exempt from taking the registration, even though his aggregate turnover exceed the applicable threshold limits, which is mentioned in section 22. Okay. Next question number 4. A pure oil Delhi has supply machine oil and high speed diesel in the month of April as per details given. So following are the supplies given: supply of machine, which is taxable supply of 50 lakh rupees; supply of high speed diesel in Delhi, which is non taxable supply because it is excluded from the GST regimes. Okay, 10 lakh rupees. And supply of machine oil made in Punjab by the Pure Oil from its branch office located in Punjab, it is a supply of goods between the distinct persons of 10 lakh rupees. So we know, and in the definition of aggregate turnovers, we includes all supply, whether in form of taxable, non-taxable, exempt. Okay, so aggregate turnover is 35 lakh rupees, 15 plus 10 plus 10, 35 lakh rupees. But we also know, if we make supply only intrastate of good, we make supply of goods only intrastate, then threshold limits of taking the registration is 40 lakh rupees. So in the given case, threshold pure oils Delhi are not required to take registration because it's aggregate turnover 35 lakh rupees. It's make only interest supply of goods. So 35 lakh rupees, which is turnover, so it is not required for taking the registration. Okay. Next, what will be your answer if in question 8 above in serial number 2, pure oil supply high speed diesel in Delhi in the capacity of agent of mixed oil? So question number 8, sorry, question number 4 above. Okay, so we know as per section 24, if agent is supply on the behalf of other taxable persons, agent is supplying taxable supply. Okay, if agent make taxable supply on the behalf of other taxable person, then agent is liable, agent is mandatory requires to take registration irrespective of the turnover. But in the given case, agent supply high speed diesel, which is non-taxable supply, so section 24 is not applicable. Hence even though it is also hence he is also not liable for taking the registration in the question number 5 also. Okay. Question number 6. Examine whether the supplier of goods is liable to get registered in the following independent case. So before solving this question, I am giving some brief about registration chapter, so we can solve these questions in very better manner. ठीक है? So देखिए, registration chapter, we have to take registration state wise, and 3 sections are given: section 22, section 23, section 24. So section 22 is a applicability section, means it defines some monetary limits, and if we cross that monetary limits, we have to take registration. And next, section 23 is a exemption sections, which provides some exemption from taking the registration. Okay, means we are exempt from taking the registration irrespective of the amount of turnover. And section 24 is a compulsory, means a mandatory sections, which says that we are mandatory required to take registration whatever amount of turnover, means okay. Section 22, which is applicable sections, defines monetary limit 20 lakh rupees. If our aggregate turnover exceed 20 lakh rupees, then we have to take registration. Okay. And two exceptions are given of 20 lakh rupees. First 10 lakh rupees and next 40 lakh rupees. The exception of 10 lakh rupees is applicable for amended state. Amended state means Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura. Means if we make supply from amended state, then we have to take registration if our aggregate turnover exceeds 10 lakh rupees. And for other state, 20 lakh rupees applicable. And the second exception is given 40 lakh rupees. So this exception we can claim with if we fulfill some conditions. So what are the conditions? So condition is that we make intrastate supply of goods, only goods, or कौन सी intrastate supply, then we can claim exemption of 40 lakh rupees. And some other are conditions also. देखिए, goods, yeah. So first we make inter supply of goods, but goods not include tip. Tip means tambaku, ice cream, pan masala. Means if we make tip supply, then threshold limit is applicable 20 lakh rupees, not 40 lakh rupees. Okay. And we are not making supply from the 10 state. 10 state कौन कौन से? First 4 state are amended state, means Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura. and next 6 states are Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Puducherry, Telangana, Uttarakhand, Sikkim means अरुण मेघा, इसका शॉर्टकट क्या है, अरुण मेघा पाडुतेला सिक्किम से यूके के. So these are the following 10 states. If we make supply from this 10 states, then we can't claim the exception of 40 lakh rupees. ठीक है. So if our turnover crosses 20 lakh rupees, then we have to take registration. But MNT state, so for the MNT state, we have to take registration if turnover crosses 10 lakh rupees, and the rest 6 state 20 lakh rupees applicable. Okay. So coming to the solution, first, Raghav Assam is exclusively engaged in inter-state supply of ready-made garments. His turnover in the current financial year from Assam showroom is 33 lakh rupees, and his another showroom is Tripura with a turnover 11 rupees from the current financial year. So in the given, Raghav is supplying inter-state supply of goods, because ready-made garments is goods, so inter-supply of goods. So we have to check whether Raghav can claim exemption of 40 lakh rupees, means exception of 20 lakh rupees can claim. So here he is supplying Assam, he is supplying from the state of Assam and Tripura, but Tripura state fall in 10 state, because Tripura fall MNT means Tripura. So Tripura, because he is supplying from Tripura, then he can't claim exemption of 40 lakh rupees. Hence the limit applicable is 10 lakh rupees, because Tripura. So 10 lakh rupees applicable, and his aggregate turnover is 44 lakh rupees, which is exceed the 10 lakh rupees. Then Raghav is required to take registration. Okay. Pulkit of Panjim, Goa is exclusively engaged in inter-state supply of shoes. His aggregate turnover in the current financial year is 22 lakh rupees. So inter-supply of goods, shoes goods. So applicable threshold limit is 40 lakh rupees. Or Goa not fall in 10 state. Okay. Then 22 lakh rupees exceed the 20 lakh rupees. No, sorry. 40 lakh rupees applicable, and 22 lakh rupees is less than the 40 lakh. So here Pulkit is not required to take registration. Okay. Next, Harshit of Himachal Pradesh is exclusively engaged in inter-supply of pan masala. Pan masala is a tip supply, and we can't claim the exemption of 40 lakh rupees in case of a tip. Okay. So here Harshit are excluded from the exemption of 40 rupees, and he is required to take registration, because Himachal Pradesh, for Himachal Pradesh the applicable threshold is 20 lakh rupees, which is so his turnover exceed the 20 lakh rupees, hence he is required to take registration. Okay. Next question. Examine whether the supply is liable to get registered in the following independent cases. Ankit of Assam is exclusively engaged in inter-supply of taxable services. His aggregate turnover in the current financial year is 25 rupees. So exclusive supply of inter-supply of taxable service. So here he is not provide goods, because the exemption of 40 lakh rupees is applicable in case of only if we are making exclusive supply of goods, not service. Okay. So here he is provide service, then 20 lakh rupees applicable. Okay. Because 10 lakh is not applicable. Assam's not fall in MNT state. So 25 lakh rupees exceed the 10 lakh rupees, hence he is required to take registration. Okay. And Sanchit of Assam is engaged in inter-supply of both taxable goods and services. His aggregate turnover in the current financial year is 30 lakh rupees. So he is supplying goods as well as services. So he is not providing exclusive supply of goods, hence 40 lakh rupees is not also applicable in this case also. So he is required to take registration, because Assam's for the Assam state 20 lakh rupees is applicable. Okay. Hence in the both cases Ankit and Sanchit is required to take registration. Okay. And the next question number 8 to I think question number 8 to 22 are theory questions. So you can solve these questions after watching my video. I have already uploaded on registration chapter. So thank you for watching this video.